Welcome to Missions Monday with Pastor Brent Oliver from Delphi First Assembly of God and Kokomo Southview Church. Today, we are blessed to share with you God's news of what is going on in various parts of the world.
All righty, well, welcome today, and I am this morning with missionaries Bernie and Brenda Smith, who are in pronounced Lomé, Togo, in West Africa.
That's right.
And you guys have been there quite a number of years, right?
Yeah, this will make 27 years now since we first landed here.
Wow, 27 years. That's a while.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. And Delphi First has been a part of our team since the very beginning.
That's awesome.
From the time before we even went to language school, you started supporting us and allowing us to do what we do. We're so thankful.
Well, and that's part of what we're trying to do here is to let people know, from a local church standpoint, that we're able to support and have impact all the way around the world, all sorts of places, and obviously supporting you guys and what you're doing there is a big part of that.
But thank you. I'm Bernie. This is Brenda. We're with West Africa Advanced School of Theology here in Togo. It's a school that serves both West and Central Africa. So most of the map that's behind your head there, we cover. And we have students from French and English-speaking countries come and get further training so they can be more effective when they go back to their countries. Then they'll be qualified to lead their own Bible schools and so forth. That way we're multiplying our influence, we're multiplying our efforts there. And the West and Central Africa, the area we cover from Senegal to Madagascar, is actually larger than the United States, including Alaska and Hawaii. So we've got a really wide impact geographically, and also with the churches. Most of the churches are growing faster than we can count. And so unless we're training leaders for the church, we can't expect that to continue. So I'm a teacher here. I teach many different subjects, and Brenda handles the publicity for the school, the newsletters and so forth, to keep in touch with our students. In addition to the school here, we've got a church that meets on campus. With COVID and all, things are a little bit different right now. With the restrictions here in Togo are much stricter than they've been in the US. And so we've had to go to 2 services. The church still has about 1,400 people attending, and
Wow.
It's growing all the time. We have a radio station here on campus called Radio Jesus Loves You that, according to the Togolese government, reaches 1.5 million people every day. So every time I get to preach in the WASP Chapel, that's the church we have on campus, there's that many people that are hearing the gospel that you've allowed me to do. It's like a dream I never even had in Bible school, and yet God's allowing me to do it. This is what I get to do on a regular basis.
Radio personality Bernie Smith. You're not going to rival Rush Limbaugh, right? Is that it?
I certainly hope not.
Maybe of the Christian faith. Bernie, you said something I want to go back to. You said
Sure.
The church is growing so fast that it's we have to train leaders. It's hard to keep up. That's not the picture in the United States. What's going on where you're at?
We're just seeing a tremendous outpouring. I'm a student of church history, and I've never seen anything like this since the beginning of the church. Here in Togo, it's just a small country. We're 2/3 the size of Indiana. We have right about the same population as Indiana. Okay. In Indiana, we have somewhere between 230, 240 Assemblies of God churches. Yeah. The last count here in Togo, we have over 2,500 AG churches.
Oh my goodness.
Our biggest problem is we only have a little over 1,200 pastors, more than twice as many churches as we have pastors right now. Mm-hmm. And so we've got to train leaders. What we're seeing is every church is planting churches. Even a church that's only 50 members is already planting 1 or 2 other churches in the nearby villages. Mm-hmm. You see, everybody has to walk to church because most people can't even afford a little motorcycle or something like that. And so we need a church within walking distance of every Togolese person. And that's what our goal is, and we're beginning to accomplish that. We're getting very close to that. Wow. When we first came here 27 years ago, about half of the people groups in Togo were considered unreached. today we don't have any unreached people groups in Togo.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. When you say within walking distance, what is that to the Togolese?
To the Togolese, it would probably be a mile to a mile and a half.
Okay.
There's a lot of little villages, and they all need churches.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing.
It is. It's been wonderful to be a part of it.
Anything you can teach us here in the United States?
One of the things that the African church loves to do is pray. They'll have all-night prayer meetings, usually once a month in all of the local churches.
Uh-huh.
And these are the things that they even invite their unsaved friends to, and they will come and they'll pray all night before they even come to the Lord. And so prayer is a big part of everything that they do.
Okay.
And then they also are very good at mobilizing their members. That the pastors are not the evangelists in the churches. It's the deacons and the other leaders in the church that are all the evangelists in the churches, and they're bringing the people in.
So you're seeing happen what the Apostle Paul writes to the Ephesians, that the apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors, teachers equip the people of God basically for works of service. And those are the ones that are doing the works of ministry.
Yeah, we're seeing that very good. And
Yeah.
we have something like a school of ministry here in Togo, but it's for laymen, not for pastors. And the school of ministry here will have 700 to 800 people in any year that are studying to be equipped in the ministry, even though they're not what we would call traditional ministers.
Right, right. So Brenda, what about you? Talk to us a minute.
Yeah. Well, like Bernie says, I'm handling the publicity for the school. One thing we do on Fridays is Bernie leads a prayer meeting with the students for Muslims while they're at the mosques. And when the students get out of class at 1, we pray for an hour for the Muslim world. So in conjunction with that, I publish a weekly newsletter that goes out by email on Thursdays, asking people to pray for the Muslim world as well. And this is going, around America and various African countries here, and posted online and all of that too.
Sure.
Very careful to be sensitive about countries, places, names, and all of that. But then also I maintain the Facebook page for WAST and keep that updated with news and photos. And then everything that I do in English, I need to do in French as well.
Okay.
So double D there. And then every quarter or so, a newsletter called Campus Connection that goes out to all of our alumni and interested people that kind of keeps us in touch. We have extension centers right now functioning in 8 other countries.
Mm-hmm.
And so students come from those countries as well. They study 2.5 years in their country or the nearest extension center. Then they come here for their last semester, which is about 13 weeks.
Okay.
They come to the Lome campus because we have a great theological library, and they study together and they all graduate together. So that's a wonderful, amazing. Pre-COVID, we'll have thousands of people on this campus all celebrating, and it's a great time. We so I keep in touch, kind of keep the news about the extension centers and all of that before people, just so that we all stay connected and kind of know what's going on as a WASP community.
Awesome. That's awesome. So you're seeing now where you're at, you've spoken of the Muslim community. Is that the overwhelming majority of people in that whole part of West Africa you're talking about?
In our country, it's about 15%, but
Okay.
it varies from country to country. And so several of the countries that we serve are even majority Muslim.
Okay.
And but some countries are more or less open to the church. The church can work fairly freely. They might meet some local opposition, but as far as the government, they're considered secular states. And so legally they're free. But as Islam is making great inroads in every country. And so students who never had to deal with it before are now having Muslims move in
Sure.
And they've got to see how to react to this and how to minister to them and not to fear them, because fear keeps a lot of them from reaching out. They're different. They have a reputation. So part of our Juma prayer is also to encourage them to reach out to these people.
Sure, sure. Well, anything else you'd like to share before we're done today, as far as what you're doing, what you're seeing?
Yeah, pray with us about a project that we're going to really start getting off the ground at the end of this 3-week session that I just started. Once our students leave, here in Togo, there is the problem of Islamic terrorism coming down from the north. There are places that I can't go to that I could go to just 2 years ago. And the idea here, as we're trying to plant a church within walking distance of every Togolese, is to put up tabernacles for new churches. These are like shelter houses in the US, metal legs and a metal roof so that the enemies of the gospel can't burn them down.
Sure.
And the project that I have with the Togolese church here is we're building a shop so that they can build their own tabernacles, so that they can take them to different places in Togo that I can't go to anymore. And this way they can also train some young people who are unemployed to put up buildings. It's a win-win for the church.
Sure.
It requires a big outlay at the beginning. That's why they asked me to set up the shop, to have all the tools and everything for it. I'm really excited about this project. This is something we can build, give to the church, and walk away and just see them run with it, so they can put up their own buildings all across the country. So please pray with us about that.
What's the total amount of money you need for that?
The amount of money?
Yeah, what's the total amount that you need to build that workshop, basically?
Yeah, the total amount I needed to begin with was $25,000. With COVID, things have gone up a bit, so I'm going to be working more like about 32,000, but I already have 45,000 raised for that. So we're going to finish the project by God's grace, and then be able to give some tabernacles to the Togolese church at the beginning as well. Yeah.
Well, obviously you're excited about what's going on. It's just great to hear.
Thank you.
I appreciate you taking time with us today and letting us know what's going on, and certainly an encouraging word from West Africa about the things that's happening.
Well, thank you, Pastor Brent, and thank you for allowing us to be a part of what you're doing in the world.
Well, thank you so much. God bless you guys.
Bless you. Take care.
This has been brought to you by Delphi First Assembly of God and Kokomo Southview Church. To contact us or send us your prayer request, testimony of answered prayer, or Bible questions, please see the information on the screen. May God's salvation through Jesus Christ overflow into your life with His joy. God bless until we see you again.